Imagine the sky going faint around mid-evening, the sun disappearing behind the moon, extending a frightening nightfall across the land. An all-out sunlight-based obscuration is one of nature's generally impressive and extraordinary displays. On April 8, 2024, an imperative all-out solar eclipse will clear across North America, plunging bits of Mexico, the US, and Canada into daytime haziness. This outstanding celestial event has stargazing aficionados humming with energy, yet it likewise has specialists giving critical safety alerts. In this reality-stuffed video, we'll investigate why there are such countless precautions encompassing the 2024 eclipse and what you really need to be aware of to securely witness it. We'll discuss how this eclipse differs from the significant 2017 event that enraptured millions. And for those new to eclipse viewing, we'll cover the basics of what causes a solar eclipse. So, stay tuned as we share fundamental tips to help you capitalize on this momentous experience, whether you intend to be in the path of totality or view a partial eclipse from your own terrace. The 2024 total solar eclipse is one heavenly show you won't want to miss. The Great North American Eclipse 2024. A glorious celestial event will grace the skies over North America on April 8, 2024. An all-out solar eclipse, often referred to as the Great North American Eclipse, will cast its shadow across the continent, instantly changing day into night along its path. This terrific phenomenon happens when the moon perfectly aligns between the Earth and the sun, completely blocking the sunlight and creating a spooky twilight. The eclipse's process will start in Mexico at around 11:07 a.m. Pacific Light Time, making its most important landfall on the Pacific coast. As the moon's shadow crosses the country, it will enter Texas around 1:27 p.m. Central Standard Time. From that point, the path of totality, the narrow segment of land where the sun will be completely obscured, will cut a swath through the heart of the U.S. states lucky enough to fall within this path. These states include Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. As the eclipse advances across the continent, the duration of totality will vary depending on location. Skywatchers in places like Durango, Mexico, and Fredericksburg, Texas, will be treated to a substantial 4 minutes and 26 seconds of total darkness, while the entire North American landmass will experience at least a partial solar eclipse. Only those located within the 100 to 125-mile wide path of totality will have the honor of seeing the magnificent sight of a total eclipse. This divine event is expected to draw thousands of eclipse enthusiasts to prime viewing areas along the path, with cities, towns, and remote regions preparing for an influx of visitors eager to immerse themselves in the moon's shadow. As excitement builds for this once-in-a-lifetime event, authorities across the nation are diligently preparing to address the challenges that come with such a large surge in interest. Traffic and infrastructure. Traffic congestion and warnings surrounding the 2024 eclipse highlight not only the marvel and excitement but also the reasons for concern among authorities and local officials. With thousands expected to flock to the path of totality across the country, the potential strain on public health infrastructure is significant. To mitigate risks and ensure a smooth experience for both residents and visitors, a series of critical alerts and advisories have been issued across the impacted states. One of the most pressing concerns is the anticipated traffic jams as eclipse chasers converge on the narrow path of totality. Roads and highways are likely to become severely congested, especially in rural areas where infrastructure is often limited and two-lane roads are common. The sudden influx of vehicles could quickly lead to gridlock, making it difficult for emergency vehicles to navigate the clogged streets and respond to crises efficiently. To address these risks, state and local officials are strongly advising residents and visitors to plan ahead. They recommend stocking up on essential supplies like food, water, fuel, and medications in the days leading up to the eclipse. By doing so, people can reduce the need for last-minute trips and help prevent shortages at local stores, which may not be prepared to handle the sudden surge in demand. Health and safety concerns. In addition to traffic-related concerns, the strain on emergency services and healthcare facilities is another significant issue. Large crowds inherently bring a higher risk of accidents, injuries, and medical emergencies. Rural clinics and hospitals, which often operate with limited resources and staff, might find themselves overwhelmed. To address this, some regions are proactively deploying additional medical personnel and resources to key locations along the path of totality, ensuring they are better prepared to handle any emergencies that may arise. Communication is another critical aspect that officials are addressing. With thousands of people attempting to share their eclipse experience through calls, texts, and social media posts simultaneously, cell towers may become overloaded. This not only poses a challenge for visitors trying to stay connected with loved ones, but also raises concerns about the ability to reach emergency services if needed. Mobile service providers, such as T-Mobile, are taking proactive measures to minimize disruptions and ensure reliable connectivity. These efforts include deploying additional cell sites and conducting continuous network monitoring to identify and resolve any issues promptly. Local preparations. The strain on local resources has prompted officials to take extraordinary measures. In Kerr County, Texas, Judge Rob Kelly issued a disaster declaration on March 4th, expressing concerns that the influx of visitors could deplete food and fuel supplies and strain city and county infrastructure beyond capacity. This declaration allows the county to access additional resources and funding to better manage the challenges associated with the eclipse and ensure the safety and well-being of both residents and visitors. Schools within the path of totality are also facing a tough decision. Stay open or close for the day. While the eclipse presents an incredible educational opportunity, student safety and logistical concerns must be considered. Many districts have opted to close for the day, citing potential traffic congestion and the risk of students damaging their eyes by viewing the eclipse improperly. By closing schools, officials aim to reduce the strain on local infrastructure and ensure that students can safely enjoy the eclipse with their families. Even pet owners are being advised to take precautions during the eclipse. The sudden darkness may cause animals to exhibit unusual behavior, such as increased anxiety or confusion. Experts recommend keeping pets indoors during the eclipse and providing them with a safe, comfortable space to retreat to if needed. Pet owners should also ensure they have an ample supply of food and any necessary medications on hand, as traffic and crowds may make it difficult to access stores in the days surrounding the event. Conclusion. As April 8th approaches, officials are working tirelessly to prepare their communities for the unique sea. Solar eclipses have long captivated human imagination and scientific inquiry. Historically, these celestial events have been seen as omens or signals from the gods, influencing cultures across the globe. Ancient civilizations, including the Babylonians, Egyptians, and Chinese, meticulously recorded eclipses and their associated phenomena. These records not only highlight the importance of solar eclipses in the cultural and religious practices of these societies, but also underscore their contributions to early astronomical knowledge. In ancient China, solar eclipses were considered significant omens. They were often linked to the fate of the emperor or the state, and the occurrence of an eclipse was sometimes interpreted as a sign of divine disapproval. Ancient Chinese astronomers developed sophisticated methods to predict eclipses, which were essential for maintaining social order and legitimacy. The Greeks, including figures like Thales of Miletus, also made significant contributions to the study of eclipses. Thales is famously credited with predicting a solar eclipse in 585 BC, marking one of the earliest known instances of eclipse prediction. The Greeks recognized the cyclical nature of eclipses and began to develop the mathematical models necessary for their prediction. This early work laid the foundation for modern astronomical calculations. In the Americas, indigenous cultures had their own interpretations and uses for solar eclipses. The Maya, for instance, were advanced astronomers who used their understanding of celestial events to create intricate calendars and predict eclipses with remarkable accuracy. Their knowledge of eclipses was integrated into their religious and ceremonial practices, reflecting a deep connection between their cosmology and daily life. The science behind solar eclipses. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth and the Sun, temporarily obscuring the Sun's light. This alignment, known as syzygy, causes the Sun, Moon, and Earth to form a straight line. The type and duration of the eclipse depend on the relative distances and positions of these celestial bodies. There are several types of solar eclipses. Total solar eclipse. This occurs when the moon completely covers the sun, casting a shadow on Earth. During a total solar eclipse, the sun's corona becomes visible, creating a dramatic and awe-inspiring sight. The path of totality is the narrow region on Earth where this total eclipse is observed. Partial solar eclipse. In this type of eclipse, only a portion of the sun is obscured by the moon. Observers outside the path of totality see a partial eclipse, where the sun appears as though it has been bitten by the moon. Annular solar eclipse. This happens when the moon is too far from Earth to completely cover the sun, leaving a ring-like appearance of the sun's surface visible around the moon. This ring is often referred to as the ring of fire. Hybrid solar eclipse. This rare type of eclipse shifts between a total and an annular eclipse depending on the observer's location along the eclipse path. It is also known as an annular total eclipse. The dynamics of an eclipse involve the interplay of several factors, including the elliptical orbits of the moon and Earth and the tilt of the Earth's axis. The moon's orbit around Earth is elliptical, meaning its distance from Earth varies over time. This variation in distance can affect the type of solar eclipse observed. Additionally, the tilt of the Earth's axis relative to the plane of its orbit around the sun influences the apparent path of the eclipse. Observing the eclipse safely. Witnessing a solar eclipse is a thrilling experience, but it is essential to do so safely. Looking directly at the sun without proper protection can cause severe eye damage, including blindness. Here are some key safety tips for observing a solar eclipse. Use eclipse glasses. Specialized eclipse glasses are designed to filter out harmful solar radiation, allowing safe viewing of the sun. Ensure that the glasses meet the ISO 12312-2 international safety standard. Regular sunglasses, no matter how dark, are not safe for viewing solar eclipses. Use a solar viewer. Solar viewers or solar filters for telescopes and binoculars provide a safe means of observing the eclipse. Ensure that these devices are specifically designed for solar observation and are not damaged. Avoid direct viewing. Never look directly at the sun through a camera lens, telescope, or binoculars without a proper solar filter. The concentrated solar rays can damage both your eyes and the optical equipment. Indirect viewing. Pinhole projectors and solar viewing projectors offer a safe way to observe the eclipse indirectly. These methods project the image of the sun onto a surface, allowing you to view the eclipse without looking directly at it. Supervise children. Ensure that children are using proper eclipse viewing equipment and understand the importance of not looking directly at the sun. Preparing for the eclipse, what to bring. Preparation is key to making the most of your eclipse experience. Here is a checklist of items to consider bringing. Eclipse glasses. Ensure you have enough pairs for everyone in your group, including extras in case of damage. Camera equipment. If you plan to photograph the eclipse, bring a camera with a solar filter. A tripod and remote shutter release can help capture steady images. Comfortable clothing. Dress appropriately for the weather conditions in your viewing location. Bring layers if the temperature is expected to change. Food and water. Pack snacks and plenty of water, especially if you are traveling to a remote area where food and beverages might not be readily available. Sunscreen and hat. Protect yourself from the sun's rays before and after the eclipse, even though it will be obscured for part of the time. First aid kit. Carry a basic first aid kit in case of minor injuries or emergencies. Travel essentials. If traveling to a different location, ensure you have all necessary travel documents, including maps, identification, and any required permits. Binoculars or telescope. If you have a solar filter for these devices, they can enhance your viewing experience. Ensure that the filters are specifically designed for solar observation. Impact on local communities. The Great North American Eclipse of 2024 is expected to have a significant impact on the communities within the path of totality. The influx of visitors will bring both opportunities and challenges. Economic benefits. Local businesses, including hotels, restaurants, and shops, stand to benefit from the increased tourism. The eclipse presents an opportunity for economic growth in regions that may otherwise experience lower visitor numbers. Community engagement. The eclipse can foster community spirit and engagement, with local events, educational programs, and viewing parties organized to celebrate the occasion. Infrastructure strain. The surge in visitors may strain local infrastructure, including roads, public services, and emergency response systems. Effective planning and coordination are essential to manage these impacts. Environmental considerations. Increased foot traffic and vehicle use can have environmental implications. Efforts to minimize the ecological footprint and promote responsible behavior are important for preserving natural areas.